A millionaire pretending to be poor decides to work at his own hotel and ends up falling in love with the manager. But when he meets her family, he is shocked by what he discovers. Ethan William was sitting in the bar of an exclusive club, surrounded by the luxury his fortune could buy. But despite all the wealth around him, he felt empty. At 27, Ethan had experienced romantic relationships that always ended the same way. Women attracted to his money, not to who he really was. "I'm tired of this, Thomas," Ethan confided to his best friend as they drank whiskey in crystal glasses. "I will never find someone who truly loves me." Thomas, Ethan's childhood friend, pondered for a moment before offering an unusual solution. "Ethan, why don't you disguise yourself and go work at one of your own hotels?" Thomas suggested. "That way you can meet people who don't know who you really are." Ethan raised an eyebrow, skeptical. "What would someone in my position do in a family hotel pretending to be an ordinary worker?" he asked incredulously. Thomas shrugged and smiled. "Exactly that. No one would expect to see a millionaire working as an employee. You would have the chance to meet genuine people." Despite initial resistance, the idea stuck with Ethan. When he got home that night, he couldn't stop thinking about Thomas's proposal. After hours of reflection, he decided to give the bold plan a chance. The next morning, Ethan went to his mother, Emma Williams' office, a strong and determined woman who ran the hotel chain with an iron fist. When he explained his plan, he saw Emma's expression change from surprise to concern. "Ethan, what are you thinking?" Emma questioned, visibly distressed. "You've never worked a day in your life. How will you adapt to this crazy idea?" Ethan took a deep breath, determined. "Mom, I'm tired of being seen only as the millionaire's son. I want a chance to find someone who likes me for who I am, not for my money. I need to do this." After a long silence, Emma finally relented, sighing. "You're an adult now and can make your own decisions. But remember, everything in life has consequences. I hope you're prepared for them." Determined, Ethan chose a distant city to avoid being recognized. If he went to the hotel in the city where he lived, everyone would know he was the heir to the William Hotel chain. He found a modest furnished apartment, a stark contrast to the opulence of the mansion where he grew up. But to his surprise, he felt relieved by the simplicity. As he settled into the new apartment, Ethan reflected on the new journey he was about to start. The next day, he would begin working at the hotel, disguised as an ordinary employee, in search of something money couldn't buy: true love. And with that in mind, he was ready to face the challenges ahead. Ethan woke up early on his first day of work at the hotel. He felt a mix of anxiety and excitement as he got ready, donning the simple receptionist uniform. Looking at himself in the mirror, he saw a version of himself he had never imagined. There he was, the heir to a luxury hotel chain, about to live as a common worker. When he arrived at the hotel, Ethan was greeted by the manager, Amelia, a blonde woman in her 30s whose friendliness and professionalism were evident from the welcome to the team. "Ethan," Amelia said with a warm smile, "I'll show you around the hotel and introduce you to the rest of the team." Ethan followed Amelia through the hotel corridors, amazed at the attention to detail in every corner. Although it was part of his inheritance, he had never been to this particular hotel. Amelia explained every aspect of the hotel's operations with patience and clarity, answering all his questions. "This is the reception where you'll be working. It's a busy place, so you'll have the opportunity to meet many guests and employees," Amelia said as they arrived at the lobby. Ethan nodded, feeling more confident. "I'm excited to start," he replied, smiling. During the tour, Ethan met several colleagues, but one in particular caught his attention: Matthew, the maintenance manager. Matthew was a 58-year-old man with a calm and wise demeanor. He greeted Ethan with a firm handshake and a welcoming smile. "Welcome, young man," Matthew said. "If you need anything or want to talk, I'll be around." In the following days, Ethan quickly adapted to the hotel's routine. At the reception, he dealt with a variety of guests, learning to solve problems and provide impeccable service. The constant interaction with different people began to reveal a more human and accessible side of him, which had always been hidden behind his wealth. The friendship with Matthew grew stronger over time. During breaks, Ethan and Matthew often talked in the hotel garden. Matthew became a paternal figure to Ethan, sharing stories and offering valuable advice about life. "You know, Ethan," Matthew began in one of these conversations, "life is full of surprises. You never know when you're going to find something or someone that changes everything." Ethan reflected on Matthew's words. He felt that this new chapter in his life was just beginning, and that he had much to learn. Matthew's advice was particularly valuable when Ethan talked about his failed romantic experiences. He confided in Matthew about his disappointment with women who were only interested in his money. "Be patient, Ethan," Matthew advised. "Sometimes the right person appears when we least expect it, and when that happens, you'll know it's real." Ethan nodded, finding comfort in Matthew's words. Meanwhile, he continued to grow closer to Amelia. Her friendliness and efficiency were inspiring, and Ethan admired the way she led the team with respect and kindness. The first days at the hotel were intense but extremely rewarding. Ethan began to feel that finally, he was on the right path to finding what he had always wanted, a genuine and meaningful life far from the superficialities that money brought. As he wrapped up another day of work, Ethan felt grateful for the opportunity to live this experience. He knew he still had a long way to go, but for the first time in a long time, he felt hopeful and excited about the future. Days at the hotel turned into weeks, and Ethan felt increasingly comfortable in his new role. He dedicated himself to the reception work, meeting guests and solving problems with the same effectiveness he always applied to the family business, though this time in a more personal and direct manner. During this period, Ethan and Amelia began spending more time together. Initially, they had only quick conversations in the hallway or during team meetings, but these interactions soon turned into long talks during breaks and after work. They talked about everything from funny work stories to dreams and ambitions for the future. "Did you know I always wanted to travel the world?" Amelia said in one of these conversations while they were having coffee in the hotel's small cafe. "Really?" "Me too," Ethan replied, smiling. "I've always wanted to explore new places, but I've never had the chance to do it as a regular person without all the glamour and unwanted attention." Amelia laughed, her eyes sparkling with interest. "I think it would be amazing to travel without expectations, just enjoying the experience for what it is." Ethan began to realize he felt something deeper for Amelia. It wasn't just admiration for her competence and friendliness, it was something more intimate. His heart raced every time she was near, and he couldn't take his eyes off her. Amelia, in turn, also noticed something different. Ethan was unlike any other man she had known. There was a humility and sincerity in his gestures that attracted her. She felt comfortable around him, as if she could be completely herself. However, neither of them dared to admit their feelings. Both were afraid of ruining the budding friendship. Matthew, always observant, noticed the change in Ethan. During one of their garden conversations, he commented, "You seem different, Ethan. There's something in your eyes, a kind of sparkle that wasn't there before." Ethan sighed, smiling. "I think you're right, Matthew. I think I'm starting to feel something for Amelia." Matthew smiled understandingly. "Remember what I said about patience, young man. True love doesn't need to be rushed. Let things happen naturally." Ethan reflected on these words as the days passed. He knew he was falling for Amelia, but he also knew he needed to respect her time and space. He didn't want to force anything. He wanted everything to happen naturally and genuinely. One night, after a long day of work, Ethan and Amelia decided to walk along the beach near the hotel. The sound of the waves and the cool breeze created a perfect setting for a more intimate conversation. "You know, Ethan, I'm glad you came to work here," Amelia said, looking at the horizon. "You brought a new energy to the hotel, and I think we all feel it." Ethan smiled, feeling a wave of happiness. "And I'm happy to be here. This place, these people, and you, all of this has been amazing." They continued walking side by side in silence, each lost in their thoughts. For Ethan, that moment was more than special. He felt connected to Amelia in a way he had never felt with anyone before. The feelings between them grew each day. but both knew they still had a long way to go. Ethan kept reflecting on Matthew's advice, knowing that patience and sincerity were essential. Meanwhile, Amelia began to realize that maybe this new hotel employee was more than he seemed. Ethan felt a mix of nervousness and excitement when he finally decided to ask Amelia out. The weeks of spending time together and their growing connection encouraged him to take the next step. He knew he could no longer ignore the feelings he had for her. One sunny morning, Ethan found Amelia in the hotel cafe where she was having her usual coffee before starting work. With a confident smile, he approached. "Amelia, are you free tonight?" he asked, trying to sound casual but feeling his heart race. Amelia looked up from her cup, surprised. "Yes, I am. Why? Would you like to go out with me? I thought we could watch a movie and then have dinner." "What do you think?" Ethan asked anxiously, waiting for her response. Amelia smiled, feeling a pleasant warmth spread through her chest. "I'd love to. Ethan, is dating okay with you?" "Perfect," he replied, almost relieved. The day passed quickly, and when the clock struck 8, Ethan was already preparing for the date. He chose a casual shirt and jeans, wanting to look nice but not overdo it. When he arrived at the hotel to pick up Amelia, his heart raced when he saw her. She looked beautiful in a simple yet elegant dress that highlighted her natural beauty. "You look stunning, Amelia," Ethan complimented, genuinely impressed. "Thank you, Ethan. You look great too," Amelia replied, smiling. They took a taxi to a small cinema in the city center. They watched a romantic comedy that, to Ethan's surprise, was the perfect choice. They laughed together, commenting on the funny scenes and sharing popcorn. Ethan felt there was no better place to be than beside Amelia. After the movie, they went to a cozy nearby restaurant. The intimate atmosphere and soft music created the perfect setting for the rest of the evening. They talked about their lives, dreams, and even the little things that made them happy every day. "I've always wanted to start my own business," Amelia confessed while savoring dessert. "Maybe a cafe or a small bookstore, a place where people could feel at home." Ethan listened attentively, fascinated by the passion and determination in her words. "I can see you doing that," he said, holding Amelia's hand across the table. "You have a special way of making people feel welcome." Amelia blushed slightly, feeling flattered. "Thank you, Ethan. That means a lot to me." The night flew by, and before they knew it, it was time to head back. Instead of going directly to the hotel, they decided to walk a bit through the city. They ended up in a quiet square near Amelia's home. The place was lit by soft lights, and the sound of distant laughter and conversations created a charming atmosphere. "Shall we sit for a while?" Amelia suggested, pointing to a wooden bench under a majestic tree. Ethan agreed, sitting next to her. The night air was cool and pleasant, and they sat in silence for a few moments, just enjoying each other's company. "I really enjoyed tonight, Amelia. You are special to me," Ethan said, looking into her eyes. "I enjoyed it too, Ethan," Amelia replied, smiling. "You are special to me too." They stayed there under the stars, feeling the magic of the moment. Ethan leaned in slightly, and Amelia closed her eyes, accepting the kiss that would seal the beginning of something new and wonderful. The kiss was sweet and tender, and when they parted, both knew that something significant had changed between them. A new chapter in their lives was beginning, and they were ready to explore it together. Ethan felt a genuine happiness, something he had never experienced before. As he walked back home, he smiled, remembering Matthew's words about true love and how life was full of surprises. And what a wonderful surprise Amelia had become. The days following Ethan and Amelia's first date were filled with happiness and new discoveries. Their connection deepened, and Ethan experienced a genuine joy he had never felt before. He knew Amelia was special and wanted to learn more about her life, especially about her family. One sunny afternoon, while walking through the same square where they had shared their first kiss, Ethan decided to open his heart. "Amelia, I would like to meet your father. I think it's important for both of us that I learn more about your family," Ethan said, holding her hand. Amelia paused for a moment, surprised by the request. She knew her father was a central figure in her life, and introducing him to Ethan would be a significant step. "I think it's a good idea," Amelia replied, smiling. "My dad is a wonderful person, and I'm sure you'll get along. How about this Sunday?" Ethan agreed, feeling a mix of anxiety and excitement. When Sunday arrived, Ethan felt a mixture of nervousness and excitement as he prepared to meet Amelia's father. He took a taxi to her house, his heart beating faster with every mile. Upon arrival, he took a deep breath and rang the doorbell. The door opened, revealing Amelia in a beautiful floral dress, smiling at him. "You look beautiful, Amelia," Ethan said, feeling his heart race. "Thank you, Ethan." "Are you ready to meet my dad?" she replied, her eyes sparkling. "I'm ready," Ethan said, though his nerves were evident. They entered the house, and Ethan was surprised to see Matthew, his colleague from the hotel, sitting on the couch. Matthew immediately started laughing, recognizing Ethan. "I told you, Ethan, life is full of surprises," Matthew exclaimed, still laughing. Ethan, incredulous, smiled back. "How is this possible?" he asked. "When my daughter was looking for her first job, I recommended her to the late Tyler William," Matthew explained. "She's been working there ever since." Ethan was stunned to learn that Matthew knew his father. Matthew added, "We don't need to expose our personal lives at work. We need to be professional. That's what I always say." Ethan spent the rest of the lunch deep in thought. The connection between him, Amelia, and Matthew now seemed much deeper than he had imagined. After lunch, he knew it was time to be honest. He called Matthew and Amelia to talk in the living room. "Matthew, Amelia, there's something I need to reveal," Ethan began nervously. "Matthew, you said you knew Tyler William, the hotel owner?" "Yes, I did," confirmed Matthew. Ethan took a deep breath before continuing. "Tyler was my father. I am the heir to the hotel." Amelia felt extremely uncomfortable and somewhat betrayed. Ethan had said nothing about this, and now came with a bombshell revelation. Matthew, however, began laughing again. He asked for Ethan's ID, and when he handed it over, Matthew laughed even more. "Why are you laughing, Matthew?" Ethan asked, puzzled. "Because you look just like your father when he was young," Matthew replied with a nostalgic smile. "I've been told that," admitted Ethan, still processing everything. After the shocking revelation during lunch, Ethan felt a great deal of tension in the air. Amelia withdrew to the garden to process the information, and Ethan knew he needed to clarify everything before the situation worsened. He followed her there, finding her sitting on a bench, clearly shaken. "Amelia, please listen to me," Ethan pleaded, sitting next to her. "I know I should have told you sooner, but I wanted you to know me for who I am, not for my money or my position. Please understand that." Amelia remained silent for a few moments, taking deep breaths as she processed Ethan's words. She looked at him, still shaken, but there was understanding in her eyes. "Ethan, I understand your motivations. It must have been hard living with so many people approaching you for the wrong reasons. I just need some time to adjust to all this." Ethan nodded, relieved to see that Amelia was willing to listen. "I just want to be honest with you from now on. I never meant to deceive you, Amelia. I just wanted a chance to be myself and find someone who loves me for who I am." Amelia gave a slight smile, feeling the sincerity in his words. "I believe you, Ethan. We'll get through this together. Just no more secrets, okay?" "Agreed," Ethan said, feeling a huge weight lifted off his shoulders. They returned inside where Matthew was waiting for them. He had a look of understanding and warmth. Ethan realized there was more to be said and decided to take another step towards honesty. "Matthew, can I ask you more about your history with my father?" Ethan inquired, feeling more at ease. Matthew nodded, indicating for Ethan to sit again. "Of course, Ethan. Your father, Tyler William, was a remarkable man. I met him when I started working as a manager at the hotel. He always made a point of getting to know his employees and maintaining a close relationship with everyone. That was something rare and very valuable." Ethan listened intently, eager to learn more about his father. "Tyler had a clear vision of how he wanted the hotels to be managed," Matthew continued. "He believed that the key to a good business was treating people well, both guests and employees. He inspired me to be who I am today." Amelia, who was listening to the conversation, felt moved hearing about the kindness and integrity of Ethan's father. "Your father was a great man, Ethan, and it's evident that you've inherited much from him," said Matthew with a smile. Ethan felt proud but also humbled hearing this. "Thank you, Matthew. Those words mean a lot to me." The conversation continued in a light and relaxed manner, with Matthew sharing funny and inspiring stories about Tyler William. Ethan felt that little by little, he was getting to know his father's legacy better and connecting more deeply with him. During the conversation, Matthew asked a question that caught Ethan by surprise. "And your mother, Emma, how is she?" asked Matthew. "Emma is my mother. You know her?" Ethan asked, curious. Matthew nodded. "Yes, I do. But I'm sorry, Ethan. There are things I can't tell you. It's better to ask her," Matthew replied somewhat enigmatically. This response intrigued Ethan, but he decided to respect Matthew's advice and talk to his mother about it later. At the end of the afternoon, when Ethan and Amelia said goodbye to Matthew, there was a sense of renewal and hope in the air. The truth had been revealed, and despite the difficulties, they had overcome it together. Ethan knew there would still be challenges ahead, but he felt more confident and prepared to face them with Amelia by his side. As they walked back to Ethan's apartment under the starry sky, he held Amelia's hand firmly. "Thank you for understanding and standing by me, Amelia. I truly believe we can overcome anything together." Amelia smiled, feeling the same. "I believe so too, Ethan. Let's move forward one step at a time." As the days passed, Ethan continued working at the hotel as usual. His relationship with Amelia grew stronger, and he couldn't stop thinking about the conversation he had with Matthew about his mother. One day, he decided to talk to Amelia about it. "Amelia, I want you to meet my mother," Ethan said as they walked through the hotel garden. Amelia felt a bit worried but agreed. "Of course, Ethan, I think that's a good idea." And so, with reconciliation and mutual understanding, Ethan and Amelia began to build a future together based on truth, trust, and love. They knew that visiting Ethan's mother would be an important next step in their journey. The day was sunny and peaceful as Ethan and Amelia prepared for the trip to the William mansion. Amelia was a bit nervous, but Ethan reassured her by holding her hand firmly. He knew this meeting would be crucial for both of them. "Everything will be fine, Amelia. My mom is going to love meeting you," Ethan said, smiling. "I hope so. I'm a little nervous, but I'm ready," Amelia replied, trying to calm herself. They took a taxi to the airport and boarded a flight to the city where the William family mansion was located. The plane ride was relatively short, but it gave Amelia enough time to think about what was to come and for Ethan to mentally prepare to introduce his girlfriend to his mother. Upon arrival, they took another taxi that brought them to the impressive William mansion. Amelia was speechless at the sight of the grand residence, with its beautiful gardens and elegant architecture. Ethan felt a mix of nostalgia and excitement being back at his old home. When they rang the doorbell, Emma opened the door with a welcoming smile. She embraced Ethan warmly, showing how much she had missed him. "Ethan, my son, it's so good to see you," Emma exclaimed, her eyes shining with happiness. "Mom, this is Amelia," Ethan introduced. Emma looked at Amelia with tenderness and sympathy. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Amelia. Ethan has told me a lot about you," said Emma, extending her hand. "The pleasure is mine, Mrs. William," replied Amelia, a bit shy. "Please call me Emma," she said, smiling. They entered the mansion and were led to the living room where a table was already set for lunch. The environment was elegant and welcoming, reflecting Emma's style. During lunch, the conversation was light and relaxed. Emma made sure to learn more about Amelia, asking about her family and her work at the hotel. Amelia, in turn, was curious about Emma and Tyler's story. "So Emma, how did you and Tyler meet?" Amelia asked, interested. Emma smiled fondly, recalling the past. "Tyler and I met at the hotel. I was a receptionist, and he, the owner, was always there personally overseeing everything. We knew who we were from the start, but he never let his position influence our relationship." Amelia and Ethan exchanged surprised glances at Emma's frankness. She continued, "It was shocking at first to realize the responsibility he carried, but I saw that he had good intentions, and that's how our love blossomed, based on truth and trust. Amelia felt a deep connection with Emma, admiring her strength and sincerity. Ethan, on the other hand, was moved to hear more about his parents' love. "Emma, I wanted to thank you for welcoming me so warmly," Amelia said, smiling. "I can see where Ethan got his kindness and sincerity from." Emma held Amelia's hand, giving her a warm look. "Thank you, Amelia. I'm very happy that Ethan has found someone like you. You have my blessing and my support." After lunch, Emma took Ethan and Amelia for a walk through the mansion's gardens, sharing more stories about Tyler and the family legacy. Amelia felt increasingly integrated and welcomed. After the walk, they gathered in the cozy living room of the mansion. Emma served tea and desserts, creating a warm and intimate atmosphere. "Stay here tonight," Emma suggested. "We have many guest rooms, and this way we can talk more and you can rest before your trip back." Ethan looked at Amelia, who nodded with a smile. "We'd love to, Mom." "Thank you," Ethan replied. As night fell, the trio continued to chat, sharing laughter and stories. Amelia felt more and more at home, and Ethan was happy to see the growing connection between his mother and his girlfriend. As they prepared for bed, Amelia spoke to Ethan in a low voice. "Your mom is amazing, Ethan. I'm so happy to be here." "Me too, Amelia. This means a lot to me," Ethan replied, holding her hand. The night at the William Mansion was peaceful and filled with meaningful conversations. Ethan and Amelia felt welcomed and at home, further strengthening their bonds with Emma. Inspired by the love stories and advice from his mother, Ethan began to reflect deeply on his own relationship with Amelia. The next morning, after a quiet breakfast in the mansion's garden, Ethan took Amelia for a walk through the same garden where he had played as a child. He knew this would be the perfect moment for an important step. "Amelia, there's something I've been thinking about since we arrived here," Ethan began, holding her hands as they walked among the flowers. "What is it, Ethan?" Amelia asked, curious, but with a smile on her lips. Ethan took a deep breath, feeling the emotion rise to the surface. "My mother and father had a love story based on truth, respect, and trust. I see the same in us. Since I met you, you've brought joy and meaning to my life. I want to spend the rest of my days with you, building a life together." Amelia stopped, her eyes filling with tears of happiness. Ethan knelt before her, taking a ring from his pocket. "Amelia, will you marry me?" Ethan Thomas asked, smiling. "I've never been more ready for anything in my life," Ethan replied with a confident smile. The ceremony began punctually, with all the guests taking their seats in the decorated hall. Soft music started to play, and all eyes turned to the entrance of the hall. Matthew walked Amelia down the aisle with dignity and emotion. Ethan's eyes filled with tears as he saw Amelia approaching, and he felt his heart race with happiness. "Take good care of her," Matthew said, handing Amelia's hand to Ethan. "I promise I will," Ethan replied, emotional. Emma, observing the scene, couldn't help but remember her own wedding to Tyler with emotion. Memories of her great love flooded her, and she felt a deep connection to the present moment. The ceremony was conducted simply but full of meaning. Ethan and Amelia exchanged sincere vows, promising to love, respect, and care for each other for the rest of their lives. "With this ring, I make you mine," Ethan said, placing the ring on Amelia's finger. "With this ring, I make you mine," Amelia replied, doing the same. When they were declared husband and wife, applause and tears of joy filled the hall. Ethan and Amelia kissed, sealing their union with love and hope. The reception that followed was full of laughter, dancing, and unforgettable moments. Emma gave an emotional toast to the couple, reminding everyone of the importance of true love and honesty. "May you have a long and happy life together, filled with love and understanding," she said, raising her glass. Matthew, with tears in his eyes, also made a toast, thanking everyone for being there and celebrating his daughter's and Ethan's love. "I always dreamed of seeing my daughter happy, and today, my dream has come true. May God bless you both," Matthew said, emotional. Ethan and Amelia thanked everyone, feeling blessed to have so many loved ones around them. The celebration continued late into the night, marking the beginning of a new journey for the couple. And so, with the blessing of friends, family, and colleagues, Ethan and Amelia began their life together, ready to face any challenge with love, trust, and respect. The grand ceremony was just the first step in a journey full of adventures and unforgettable moments. After the magnificent wedding ceremony, Ethan and Amelia set off for their honeymoon, choosing a peaceful, nature-filled destination. They wanted a place where they could relax and enjoy each other's company, away from the hustle and bustle of daily life. The chosen location was a charming country house surrounded by mountains and serene rivers. The house, which had been in Ethan's family for generations, was filled with memories and old stories. Upon arrival, they were greeted by the caretaker, who handed them the keys and wished them a wonderful stay. During the first few days, Ethan and Amelia explored the surroundings, went on hikes, and relaxed in the tranquility of the countryside. One afternoon, while exploring the attic of the house, they found an old wooden chest covered in dust and cobwebs. "What do you think is inside?" Amelia asked, curious. "Let's find out," Ethan replied, carefully opening the chest. Inside the chest, they found old letters, yellowed photographs, and various objects that seemed to be family heirlooms. Carefully, they began to examine the items, discovering a wealth of stories about their family's past. One of the first letters they found was written by Tyler, Ethan's father, to Emma. The letter, dated many years ago, spoke about the challenges they faced while building the hotel chain and the unwavering love that kept them united. "Ethan, look at this," Amelia said, holding the letter. "It's from your father to your mother. He talks about how much he loved her and how they faced so many difficulties together." Ethan read the letter attentively, feeling a deep connection with his father. Tyler's words were full of passion and determination, and Ethan felt a new admiration for the man who had built the family's legacy. As they continued to explore, they found old photos of Emma and Tyler at various stages of their lives. There were wedding photos, pictures from their travels together, and important moments in the building of the hotels. "They really went through a lot together," Amelia commented, moved. "It's incredible to see how their love overcame all obstacles." Ethan agreed, feeling inspired by his parents' strength and love. But the biggest surprise was yet to come. Among the letters, they found correspondence between Matthew and Tyler. The letters revealed that Matthew had been a great friend and advisor to Tyler, helping him at crucial moments in the business expansion. "I never knew Matthew and my father were so close," Ethan said, surprised. "This explains a lot about the connection we feel with him." Amelia looked at Ethan with bright eyes. "And this makes everything even more special, Ethan. Our families have always been connected by deep bonds of friendship and respect." As they continued to rummage through the chest, they found more letters and photos that revealed secrets about the financial difficulties Amelia's family had faced in the past. There was a letter from Matthew to Tyler, describing the challenges of raising a daughter alone after his wife's death, and how Tyler had helped during the most difficult times. "My father always told me about the difficulties we faced, but I never knew Tyler was such an important part of our lives," Amelia said, tears in her eyes. Ethan hugged her, feeling even more connected to her. "Our parents were true friends and allies. This explains why we felt so close to each other from the start." The discoveries they made during their honeymoon further strengthened Ethan and Amelia's relationship. Knowing that their families had a rich, intertwined history of love, friendship, and overcoming obstacles made them value their union even more. They spent the rest of their honeymoon reflecting on the stories they had discovered and promising to honor their parents' legacy in their own lives together. Ethan and Amelia knew that, like their parents, they could overcome any challenge with love, trust, and mutual respect. And so, with hearts full of new discoveries and an even deeper love, Ethan and Amelia returned from their honeymoon, ready to face the future inspired by their family stories and strengthened by the bond they shared. The honeymoon had been a transformative experience for Ethan and Amelia. Upon returning to their routine, life seemed richer and more meaningful. Each day was a new opportunity to deepen the love they shared and strengthen the bonds they had with their families. A few weeks after their return, Amelia began to feel different. Initially, she thought it was just the effect of the change in routine, but soon the signs became undeniable. With a racing heart and a mix of nervousness and excitement, she decided to take a pregnancy test. "Ethan, I need to tell you something," Amelia said, finding him in the living room after a long day of work. "What is it, my love?" Ethan asked, concerned by Amelia's serious expression. Amelia held Ethan's hand and, with an emotional smile, said, "I'm pregnant, Ethan. We're going to have a baby." Ethan was speechless for a moment, absorbing the news. His eyes filled with tears of joy, and he hugged Amelia tightly. "This is incredible, Amelia. I'm so happy we're going to be parents," he exclaimed, kissing her repeatedly. The news of the pregnancy brought a wave of happiness not only to Ethan and Amelia, but also to their families. Emma was radiant at the prospect of becoming a grandmother, and Matthew couldn't hide his joy at seeing his daughter start a new family. "This baby is going to bring so much joy to all of us," Emma said emotionally, hugging Amelia. "It's going to be a new beginning for our families," added Matthew, smiling. With the baby's arrival, Ethan and Amelia began to plan their future more carefully. They decided to raise their child in an environment of love and humility, ensuring he grew up with the values they both cherished. Determined to maintain his connection to reality and to people, Ethan decided to continue working at the hotel. "I want our child to see that work is important and that humility is an essential value," Ethan explained to Amelia as they discussed their plans. "I agree, Ethan. We want to give him the best of us, and that includes showing him the importance of work and respect for others," Amelia replied, caressing her growing belly. Amelia's pregnancy became a period of preparations and adjustments. Ethan was always by her side, supporting her every step of the way. They began transforming one of the rooms in their apartment into a beautiful nursery, painting the walls in soft colors and decorating it lovingly. Every movement of the baby in Amelia's belly was celebrated with joy and wonder. Ethan often placed his hands on her belly, talking to the baby and expressing all the love he already felt. "I can't wait to meet you, my little one," Ethan whispered, feeling a kick in response. Visits to the doctor and ultrasounds became exciting moments for the couple. Seeing the images of the developing baby reinforced their connection and anticipation for the new family member's arrival. As the months passed, Amelia and Ethan grew even closer. The pregnancy not only brought a new life into the world, but also strengthened their bond. The love and overcoming stories of their families served as a guide and inspiration as they prepared to become parents. Emma and Matthew were always present, offering support and advice. Emma often shared stories about when Ethan was a baby, filling Amelia with laughter and useful tips. Ethan was always a bundle of energy. "Get ready for some sleepless nights," Emma joked with a fond smile. Matthew, in turn, helped Ethan assemble furniture and prepare the house for the baby's arrival, becoming a devoted and enthusiastic grandfather. "I'll always be here for you, and for my grandchild," Matthew said emotionally. As the due date approached, Ethan and Amelia felt more prepared and confident. They knew that, with the support of their families and the love they shared, they could face any challenge. And so, with hearts full of hope and love, Ethan and Amelia eagerly awaited their child's arrival, ready to start a new journey as parents. Life was about to change wonderfully, and together they were ready for every step of this incredible adventure. The anticipation and excitement dominated the final days before the birth of Ethan and Amelia's son. Each day seemed longer than the previous one, as they both eagerly awaited the arrival of their new family member. When the moment finally came on a quiet, early morning, Amelia began to feel the first contractions. "Ethan, I think it's time," Amelia said, holding his hand tightly. Ethan, already prepared, grabbed Amelia's bag and helped her down to the car. They drove to the hospital where they were greeted by a caring and ready medical team. The following hours were intense, but filled with love and support. Ethan stayed by Amelia's side the entire time, holding her hand and offering words of encouragement. "You're doing great, Amelia. I love you," he whispered, his heart racing with emotion. Finally, after several hours of labor, the sound of the baby's cries filled the room. Ethan and Amelia looked at the little miracle in their arms, their hearts overflowing with joy and gratitude. "He's perfect," Amelia said, tears in her eyes. "Yes, he is," Ethan agreed emotionally. "Welcome to the world, Tyler Matthew." They decided to name him Tyler Matthew in honor of Ethan's and Amelia's fathers. Tyler, Ethan's father, and Matthew, Amelia's father, were central and inspiring figures in their lives. Naming their son after them was a way to honor the legacy of love, wisdom, and strength that both men had left behind. It was also a constant reminder of the deep bond that united their families. The news of the birth spread quickly, bringing a wave of joy to the whole family. Emma and Matthew arrived at the hospital as fast as they could, eager to meet their grandson. "He's beautiful," Emma said, holding little Tyler Matthew in her arms. "I'm so proud of you both." "He has Ethan's eyes," commented Matthew emotionally, "and Amelia's strength." The birth of Tyler. Matthew brought the families even closer. Everyone was involved in caring for the baby, offering unconditional support and love. Emma and Matthew visited frequently, helping in any way they could and cherishing every moment with their grandson. Ethan and Amelia quickly adapted to their new routine, delighted with each small development of Tyler Matthew. The sleepless nights and initial challenges were overcome with patience and a lot of love. "We're doing this together," Ethan said one night while rocking the baby to sleep, "and that makes everything easier." "Yes, we're a team," Amelia agreed, smiling. The months passed quickly, and each day brought new joys. Tyler Matthew's first smile, his first words, and his first steps were celebrated with enthusiasm and emotion. Family gatherings became even more special with everyone gathered around little Tyler Matthew. Emma and Matthew were dedicated grandparents, always ready to tell stories and play with their grandson. "He's the joy of our lives," Emma said, watching her grandson play in the garden. "And a true symbol of a new beginning for all of us," Matthew added, smiling. The environment around Tyler Matthew was filled with love and gratitude. Ethan and Amelia were determined to raise their son in a home full of respect, humility, and affection, passing on the values they had learned from their own parents. As they watched their son grow, Ethan and Amelia felt more connected than ever. They knew that together they could face any challenge, and that the love they shared was the solid foundation of their family. And so, with the arrival of Tyler Matthew, a new chapter began in the lives of Ethan and Amelia. The future seemed bright and full of possibilities, and they were ready for every moment of this incredible journey. With love, unity, and gratitude, they celebrated the new beginning that life had given them, knowing that the best was yet to come. I hope you enjoyed today's story. If you did, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more stories like this. Leave a like and comment below what you thought about the story. See you in the next video.